Wow, the Warriors season ends in the saddest way possible, and Dub Nation's already arguing about who deserves to stay on the roster for next year. What are your thoughts? Comment below who needs to stay, who needs to go. In today's video, we'll break down the Warriors' loss to the Wolves in Game 5. We find some hilarious moments in an otherwise sad performance and discuss the impact that's going to have on the Warriors' plans this offseason. First, I need you to hit subscribe. I'm Arthur Ballesteros. This is Warriors Digest. If you're part of the 30% of people who watch these videos on a regular basis but aren't subscribed, just hit the button. It helps the channel a lot and you can stay informed because we will be here all off season. Randy Silver, who is the OG of the channel, and myself, we're going to be bringing you daily updates on what's going on with the Warriors in the off season because it's going to be completely transformational for this team and this franchise. As we see, they fall 121 to 110. Lose to the Timberwolves 4-1 in this second round series without Steph. There's a big asterisk next to this loss. A lot of feeling that this wouldn't have happened if Steph was there, but he wasn't. And we have to live with that as Warriors fans, that this is just how playoff basketball goes sometimes. And we've benefited from injuries in the playoffs before. You look at that 2022 championship run, we benefited from injuries on other teams along the way, and Minnesota gets a break here, although the feeling is we would have beat them. But just a disappointing performance, in this do-or-die game, especially playoff Jimmy. Where were you? 42 minutes, 17 points, only 4 of 11 from the field, negative 17 on the plus or minus. You got to give your props to Jimmy, though. He played his ass off for an entire half of the season since he was traded. He's been playing through injury. We find out he's playing through sickness in the last game, part of the reason why he only got up 9 shots. I don't know how sick he was tonight, but I also don't understand why he only got 11 shots up. Is the playoff Jimmy era done? You tell me in the comments. Is just age? Playoff Jimmy, was that an apparition from the Heat when this was a younger player who still had that gas in the tank? You saw him lead a much less talented Heat team to the finals here. Granted, that's the Eastern Conference. It's different. I don't think Jimmy is to blame. I don't think anybody is to blame. Steph was out, and the Timberwolves were a better team. They were more athletic. You saw it. Julius Randle, what? He came out of nowhere. And the funniest thing, this made me laugh out loud here because Julius Randle put up 29 points. He was hitting 30-foot threes. He went out and this is the meme of the entire series where he goes out, hits that 30-foot three, does the Steph shimmy, and Steph is just shaking his head. Unbelievable. But the whole thing that makes it so funny, Julius Randle was doing all this wearing Skechers. He was wearing your grandma's workout shoes. This was something I didn't really realize, that Julius Randle has a deal with Skechers. Look at these things. These are the Zumba 5000s here. This is what, your mother-in-law wears to Zumba class. But it made me laugh. Wow, I really felt like crying because this was just ugly basketball, but this provided a hilarious moment. Jonathan Kuminga, we got a big report just before the game I'm going to get to in a little bit that actually tells the story of why he got benched. I feel like it set a terrible tone for this game, for this article to come out just before the game. But Kuminga comes in and provides some electric moments. He had some amazing finishes around the rims. Several dunks, providing some great energy, but not efficient, which has been the MO on him. He was negative 12 in his plus or minus, only 3 rebounds and playing 32 minutes, not very aggressive there, putting up 23 shots to get his 26 points. Not what you wanted to see. 3 of 9 from 3. We can live with that, although a couple of them were ugly air balls. But you tell me, should the Warriors incorporate Jonathan Kuminga in their plans for next season? Should they be matching any offer he gets? Do they bring him back? Because the story that we got from earlier today, it just puts another exclamation point that he's gone this offseason. So, what was his name? Logan Murdoch of The Ringer. He wrote this story that came out just hours before the game about how Steve Kerr was pissed at Jonathan Kuminga. This was the reason why he got benched, because he was looking off Steph Curry and prioritizing his own scoring opportunities in games when he came back from that ankle injury. And it pissed Steve Kerr off, and he decided to bench him. And I guess it really came to a head in that game late in the season against the Portland Trail Blazers, where Kuminga kept looking Steph off, who was open. And the decision-making just angered Kerr so much that he benched him for the last game of the season and the play-in game, and then barely played him in Houston. And then he has a huge resurgence after Steph goes down, and he's forced into action. He averaged over 20 points in the 3 games that he played significant minutes in this Wolves series, but that's part of the reason. I'll tell you, there's more to the story that is going to come out about Jonathan Kuminga and Steve Kerr. I think there's blame to go around on both sides, but Kuminga, for the most part, is protecting himself. He's trying to get paid. He's trying to put up shots. He's trying to show that he can score despite, Kerr bashing him in the media. And clearly the Warriors are trying to tank his value, holding him out, I think, a little bit too long from that ankle injury. There's a lot. It is a messy situation. You tell me your thoughts there. But, when it comes to the rest of the team, Brandin Podziemski made a couple of really dumb plays that got Steve Kerr completely frustrated at him. Here, of course, this video is not going to play because nothing's going to go right tonight. And, the Warriors get eliminated, but I guess we'll settle for this still here. But Steve Kerr absolutely ripped into him, yanked him from the game, ended up putting Pat Spenser in his place. But Podziemski came back and he showed out, ended up scoring 28 points, 11 of 19 from the field, and was part of that fourth quarter run where the Warriors went on, I think it was like a 13-4 run to open up the fourth and actually cut it to within 9 at one point. Also thanks to Moses Moody, who played the entire fourth. But the rest of the starters, Draymond, pretty disappointing. Again, 1 of 6 from 3. He was trying, Trayce Jackson-Davis. I still don't understand, why did Steve Kerr decide to start him if he's going to yank him so early? I guess the Wolves did end up, getting a 13-point advantage in the first quarter. That's really what dug the hole that the Warriors couldn't get out of. But Trayce couldn't get consistent minutes. Buddy Hield, he was a hero for moments. We wouldn't be in the second round without Buddy Hield, but only 8 points, 2 of 9 shooting, 0 for 4 from 3. That's what you get. You live and die with however streaky Buddy Hield is. And he was not good in this series. Kuminga was. Jimmy Butler was at times. But we didn't have the talent. The Wolves just have a lot of talent. You look at McDaniels and the defense that he was playing, leading to so many transition buckets. When we look at the team stats, the story is really told on the fact that Minnesota shot 63% from the game. You just can't beat that. I don't care if you have Steph or not. You're not going to beat a team when they're shooting 63% from the field and you're shooting 42%. It's not going to happen. Also, points in the paint, 72 points in the paint, shows you how desperate the Warriors are for some sort of size. That has to be addressed this offseason. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Has to be addressed. And no, Quinten Post is not the answer. Yes, he's a 7-footer. You saw what he did in this series and how he became almost unplayable because of his paper-thin defense and just butterfingers, some poor decision-making, bad passes. He's a rookie. He's just not ready for the playoffs right now. It's disappointing. The whole bench, this needs to be reconstructed here. When you look at this, Moses Moody ended up showing out in the fourth quarter, but he was in Steve Kerr's doghouse most of this series, but got 12 points, a 2 of 3 on some threes, really key there at the end. But this has got to change. And, you see here when you look at this, Gary Payton, Kevon Looney, both up for contracts. Do you re-sign either one of those? As much as I love Kevon and as much as I love GP2, I don't know if we bring them back unless they're on some really friendly team deals. I think that there are some huge holes that need to be addressed here. And then the elephant in the room, Kuminga. If you're the GM, do you match the offer there? Do you match him as a restricted free agent? I don't think there's any way he comes back. Maybe there's a possibility. I talked about this a little bit yesterday with the Giannis trade. Maybe there's a way they can work a sign and trade, but it's very complicated and nuanced. If they want to do a sign and trade, they're going to have to do it before he signs an offer sheet to another team per the NBA rules. I don't see him back on this roster. Mike Dunleavy's got his work cut out for him. And I don't know what they're going to do because they have about a year here. I think next year is really the last legitimate shot that the Warriors are going to have with Steph. You've got Steph for 2 more years. You've got Jimmy for 2 more. You've got Dre for 2 more. Steph's 37. Dre and Jimmy are going to be 36. You're going to need to inject this roster with some youthful shot makers and some size if you want any shot here. I do believe there is still a hope, but you're going to need to surround them with some better playmakers. Podziemski should be a 6th man off the bench. He should not be starting. Moses Moody shows that maybe he's better coming off the bench and he should stay there. Who's going to start next year? You realistically probably need to get 3 more starters. I think that at this stage in his career, Draymond Green should really be playing the Andre Iguodala role and coming off the bench as well. Get a real center. I mean, during the championship runs, the Warriors always had at least some big who could get in there and bang with the best of them, whether it was Bogut, Zaza. They had somebody with size. They just don't have that right now. Earn your money this offseason, Mike. Do it, because the Warriors, I mean, we deserve better at this point. But thank you for an incredible season. The season wasn't supposed to be that good, and I want you to remember that. And I want you to be grateful for what we did witness, which was fun, entertaining basketball since February. It's been a roller coaster. The Warriors were like 23-6 with Steph and Jimmy in the starting lineup. Do you remember the Lindy Waters days? Do you remember the starting days of Dennis Schroeder? Do you remember those days? And where we came, we beat a 2 seed. We weren't supposed to be here. And I want you to remember that and take away that we got to see some really good basketball and have a fun playoff run here up until the end that we weren't supposed to see. And I want you to cherish the moments that we have left with Steph, because I've been a Warriors fan since 96, around the season when they traded Chris Mullin for Eric Dampier. I grew up with Donyell Marshall is my favorite player. I lived through the John Starks on the Warriors years where he led the team with like 13 points that year. I lived through the Anthony Randolph is going to be the savior era. We lived through the We Believe era. Lived through the beginning of the, is Steph going to be an NBA player because he can't stay on the court because of his ankle issues? And then lived through the past 10 years of dynasty and greatness. And it's coming to an end, but we probably have a year left and we really need to be grateful and hang on to it. That also puts a lot of pressure on the front office to make something happen here, because this is the end. This is the era that we'll talk about as old people. Remember when? Steph, Clay, remember Dre, the 4 championships, Steve Kerr. It'll be talked about for decades. We'll tell the stories to our grandkids. So appreciate what we saw this year, because it was more than we were supposed to. And let's be excited for next year. This offseason, big changes are coming. Hopefully. and it's probably going to be the last shot. This year might have been it, but hopefully it'll be next year. So hold your head high as Warriors fans. There's still hope. We're not in a situation like Boston with losing Jason Tatum to a torn Achilles. We've been down that road before with Durant, with Clay. We're not in that boat. We're kind of old, and we don't have a lot of talent outside of the old guys. But I have faith that they're going to put us in the best position in the offseason to try to get that 5th championship. That's all we can hope for. Until then, I know that Randy is going to be doing his postgame tomorrow to kind of share some of his thoughts. But I think that we have a lot to hold our head about. Sure, there's some things to be sad about here. It's frustrating. It's angering seeing these reports coming out about Steve Kerr and Kuminga, and that the reasons behind the benchings, the reason behind the DMPs, the reasons why we didn't see him. There's a lot to be frustrated about, but there's a lot of hope to be had as well. So I want you to hold on to that for tonight. This is it for now, but we have an exciting off season, and Randy and myself, we're going to be here right along with you for this whole journey. So tell us what you think the Warriors need to do in the off season here to get that 5th chip next year. And until that, we'll talk to you tomorrow. I'm going to talk to you tomorrow. Randy will be here to talk to you tomorrow. He's going to give you some hope and some wise words. But that's all I got for now. Just appreciate Steph, be grateful, and laugh at the Skechers thing. Because to me, that is still hilarious. Julius Randle in the Skechers. He's balling out in your grandma's workout shoes. Anyway, until then, Godspeed to Minnesota. Good luck beating either Oklahoma City or Denver, playing as poorly as you did with all those turnovers and dumb plays. Godspeed to you, and go talk your mess. And Warriors fans, hold your head high. And I'll talk to you tomorrow. Peace.